Welcome to my class. I'm Ms. Vandana Gupta, Assistant Professor of Mathematics. In my last lecture, we started with mutual funds, which is a subunit of Unit 1 shares and mutual funds. Quickly, we will revise what we did in the last class and then we will start today's lecture. So mutual fund, it is a pool of money which is collected from different investors, and the amount so collected is invested in different portfolios by the fund managers, and the returns are given back to the investors in the proportion to the investment which they have made. Now there are there are two types of mutual funds: closed-ended and open-ended. Closed-ended means there is a fixed date of maturity and a fixed period. During that period only you can purchase the units of the mutual fund, and after that maturity period you can redeem your units. Open-ended means there is no fixed date of maturity. The units can be purchased or sold at any time. Then there are certain things which, certain terms which you should know before you begin solving the questions on mutual fund. So the most important thing is the net asset value. What is the net asset value? It is like the value of the investment. So net asset value per unit of a unit, okay, it is calculated as net asset divided by number of units outstanding. What is the meaning of asset? Asset means what is the market worth of all the investments of mutual fund. That is called the assets. Liabilities means whatever are the expenses. Okay. From the asset, if you subtract the liabilities, what remains is the net asset. If you have to find out the net asset value of a unit, then you divide the net asset by the number of units outstanding. So that will give you the NAV of a one unit of a mutual fund. It is like a, if you compare it with shares, it is like a market price of a share. Okay, so in terms of shares, we call it as a market price, and in mutual fund, we call it as a net asset value. There is a difference. In shares, the number of shares purchased or sold will be a fixed number. A whole number. It will not contain a decimal. Whereas in case of mutual fund, the net asset value of a unit, it can be in decimal, and we will take after decimal 3 points, 3 decimal points. Okay. Now, as you know that in shares, whenever you purchase or sell your shares, you have to give the brokerage, you have to pay the brokerage. Same is the case with the mutual fund. In mutual fund also, whenever you purchase or redeem your units of the mutual fund, you have to pay a certain amount of brokerage, which is called as a load here. So when you purchase, the load is called as an entry load, and when you sell, it is called as an exit load. Now, how will you find out the purchase price of a unit? Purchase price of a unit is calculated as NAV plus entry load. The entry load is the like a brokerage, okay, like a charge which is paid at the time of entering in the scheme. Entering means purchasing the scheme, units of the mutual fund. So purchase price of a unit is equal to NAV plus entry load. And how will you find out the number of units purchased? Number of units purchased. When you are purchasing the unit, that means you are investing the amount. So it is amount invested divided by purchase price of a unit. From this only, you can also have a formula for amount invested. If you want to calculate how much amount is invested to purchase units of a mutual fund, you must know the purchase price of one unit, and if you multiply it by number of units purchased, you will get the amount invested. Similarly, the charge which is paid at the time of selling the units, selling means also it is called as redeeming. Then that charge is called as an exit. So selling price is calculated as NAV minus exit load. It is in a similar way, like in shares, if you want to find out the selling price of a share, you subtract the brokerage from the market price, correct? Market price minus brokerage. Similarly here, NAV minus exit load. Then you can find out number of units sold or redeemed. It is the amount received divided by selling price of a unit. Remember that when the units you are selling or redeeming, you will receive the amount. जब आप purchase करते हो तो आप amount invest करते हो, इसलिए वहां पर amount invested आता है. लेकिन जब आप redeem करते हैं या sell करते हैं तो amount आपको मिलता है, amount received, okay, divided by selling price of a unit. Similarly, you can also find out amount received after redemption. यानी सेल करने के बाद आपको कितना अमाउंट मिला. हाउ डू यू कैलकुलेट दैट? इट इज द रिडेम्पशन प्राइस ऑफ वन यूनिट मल्टीप्लाई बाय नंबर ऑफ यूनिट्स redeemed. Also, one more important thing to remember here, that entry load and exit load, they are always calculated as a percentage of NAV. जैसे brokerage shares में हम percentage of market value होता है, वैसे ही यहाँ पर entry load and exit load are expressed as a percentage of NAV. It may happen that sometimes in a mutual fund scheme there is no entry load or exit load. In that case, such funds are called as no load funds. Sometimes it may happen that there is no entry load but there is exit load, or there is no entry load but no exit load. So it all depends upon the mutual fund. That particular mutual fund. So while solving the problem, you need to carefully read and understand. So with this much knowledge, we can now solve the problems. So let us look at the first question. Mr. Kale invested an amount of rupees 50,000 on 14th Feb when NAV was 125.6 with an entry load of 2.5%. Find number of units purchased. If current NAV is 140.4, find current value of his investment. So as usual, we will first read the question and we will write down what is given to us and what we have to calculate. So what is given to us? Read the question once again. Mr. Kale invested how much amount? 50,000. So the amount invested is 50,000. When NAV was 125.6, so NAV is equal to 125.6. See, he invested the amount. So he invested means he had purchased the NAV, purchased the units of the mutual fund. So purchase price is 125.6. What is the entry load? It is 2.5%. What you have to find and what else is given to you? You are also given the current NAV. Current NAV is 140.4. Then you have to find out what is the current value of the investment. तो सबसे पहले आपको ये निकालना है कि how many units were purchased. Okay, number of units purchased. Now number of units purchased is what? See, number of units purchased is amount invested divided by purchase price of a unit. Okay, now we know the amount invested. You are given here amount invested. How much amount was invested? 50,000. But we do not know what is the purchase price of a unit. So let us first calculate the purchase price of a unit. So we will calculate. I have already written here purchase price of a unit is NAV plus entry load. So we know already that while calculating the purchase price, entry load has to be added to the NAV. What is the NAV at the time of purchase? Look at it, 125.6. So 125.6. What is the entry load? It is 2.5%. So 2.5. See, many students, they just write 2, which is wrong. It is not 2.5, it is 2.5% of, as I told you, entry load and exit load. They are always expressed as percentage of NAV. So 2.5% of NAV, NAV is 125.6. So 2.5% of 125.6 is 125.6 plus 2.5% of 125.6. How do you calculate? 2.5 upon 100 into 125.6, which is equal to, find out this, 2.5 upon 100 into 125.6. You have the calculator. I hope everybody is sitting here with the calculator. So along with me, you also have to calculate. So calculate what you get. 2.5 into 125.6 divided by 100. So you will get 3.14. Okay. And when you add this to 125.6, you will get 128.7. So this is the purchase price of 1 unit of the mutual fund. Okay. So we found out the purchase price of a unit. Now we have to find out number of units purchased. So what is number of units purchased? Number of units purchased is equal to amount invested divided by purchase price of 1. How much amount was invested? Go back to the question and see. 50,000 was the amount invested. So 50,000 is the amount invested and purchase price is 128.74. So 50,000 divided by 128.74. So how many units you will get? 50,000 divided by 128.74. That will give you 388.3796. Yeah, if I 3796, I've taken 4 decimal places. As I told you, we will keep it fixed that after decimal, we will take 3 digits. Okay. So I want to take only up to 3 digits. Look at the 4th digit. If the 4th digit is 5 or more than 5, then you can increase the 3rd digit by 1. Okay. So it is 9. If you add 1 to it, it will become 79 ki jagah par ye ho jayega 80. So this will become 388.38. Okay. So number of units purchased is 388.38. So we have calculated number of units purchased. Now what is the next thing to calculate here? What is the current value of the investment? So if you know the current NAV, current NAV means what is the worth of the mutual fund unit today. Current means today, आज की तारीख में ये NAV है. And number of units आपने already निकाल दिया. So when you multiply NAV with number of units, you will get the current value of the investment. So current value of the investment is equal to current NAV multiplied by number of units. What is the current NAV? It is 140 points. See, when he purchased, it was 125.6. और अब देखो कितना हो गया. मतलब there is an increase in the NAV. So that is how he will gain the money. He will gain, the profit. Okay, so NAV has increased. Look at it, 140.4. So, and current NAV is 140.4 into number of units is this much. We have just now calculated. So 388.38. So calculate this. 140.4 multiplied by 388.8. How much we are getting? 54,528.5. This is the current worth of his investment. See, initially how much amount he has invested? 50,000. And see the current worth. Current worth is 54,528.5. Is almost around 4,500 he has gained. Okay. So This was the first question we have solved. Let us go back to the, let us see the next question. I hope you have understood this. If you have got any question, you can ask me now, or maybe you can write down your question, and at the end also you can ask. So do you have any question? So let us, I don't see any question in the chat box, so we will move to the next question. Look at the next question. An investor sold 500 units of a mutual fund when NAV was rupees 230 with exit load of 2%. Find the sale value. Look at here, in this question, the units are sold. Okay. In the previous question, which we have just solved, the units amount were invested. So the units were purchased. Here, we sold 500 units when NAV was rupees 230. As you know that when you sell the units, you have to pay the exit load. So the exit load is given to you as 2%. You have to find out the sale value. Okay. So let us first write down what is given to us. Okay. So read the question once again. Investor sold 500 units. So number of units sold is given to us as 5. When he sold, what was the NAV? NAV was 230. So that is what is written here. NAV is 230. What is the exit load? It is 2%. You have to find out after selling 500 units, what is his sale value? Okay. So to find out the sale value, you must know what is the selling price of 1 unit. Like in the previous problem, we have calculated the purchase price. Here we will calculate selling price of a unit. You know that when you sell the unit, you have to subtract the exit load from NAV. So selling price of a unit is equal to NAV minus exit load. Let us calculate it. So what is NAV? NAV is 230 minus exit load is 2%. As you know that 2% of what? It is 2% of NAV, that is 230. Always remember, every time I'm telling you, remember that exit load and entry load, they are always calculated as a percentage of NAV. So don't just write 2. If you write like this, now 230 minus 2, you will get 228, which will be a wrong answer. It is not just 2, it is 2% of 230. Let us calculate and see what we will get. So 230 minus 2% means 2 upon 100 into 230. Okay. So calculate what we will get. 2% of 230. That means how much it is? Use your calculator. And do it slowly, slowly. Even though it takes time, doesn't matter. So it is 4.6. Okay. When you subtract 4.6 from 230, you will get 225.4. So this is the selling price of 1 unit. Look at here. अगर आप केवल 2 को subtract करेंगे तो 228 आता है. जबकि selling price कितना है? 225.4. So never make that mistake. Okay. It is, the exit load is not just 2. It is 2% of 230. Okay. Because I'm stressing on this point because many students, they make this mistake. So they end up in the wrong answer. Okay. So we have calculated the selling price of 1 unit and it is coming as 225.4. Now you have to find out the total sale value. So what is the sale value? Therefore, sale value is equal to selling price of 1 unit selling price of 1 unit multiplied by number of units sold. Now, what is the selling price of 1 unit? It is 225.4. And how many units he sold? 500. So 225.4 is the selling price of 1 unit multiplied by number of units sold are 500. Calculate. So how much? 1127. Just write out quickly. So it is 1,12,007. So this is the total sale. That means after selling 500 units, he will get this much amount. Okay. See, even though your exam, suppose it is going to be online exam with multiple choice questions, but still in mathematics, you have to solve the problems and then only you can, tick mark for the correct choice. Okay, so such type of simple questions you can expect in exam. It will not be only theory, okay, because it's a practical subject. So I hope you have understood it. First, find out selling price of 1 unit, that is NAV minus exit load, and multiplied by number of. See, sometimes it may happen that there is no exit load. Okay, in that case, exit load will be 0. So selling price and NAV will be same. Okay, so it depends upon problem to problem. So you have to read the question carefully. I hope you have understood this. Let us see the third problem. Priya invested rupees 20,000 in a mutual fund with NAV rupees 15.75. Find the number of units required by her if there is no entry load, and in the second one, the entry load is 2%. So in this problem, amount invested is 20,000. So you are given amount invested as 20,000. They're also given the NAV, how much? 15.75. Now you have to find out how many units are purchased if there is no entry load and if there is an entry load of 2%. So let us see. So as you know that if you have to find out the number of units purchased, you know that number of units purchased is amount invested divided by the purchase price. So we need to calculate the purchase price of a unit. What is purchase price of a unit? It is NAV plus entry load. Look at the first question. In the first sub question, there is no entry load. So we will first solve the first one. So entry load is not there. So that means entry load is 0. So if the entry load is 0, what is the purchase price of a unit? It is NAV plus entry load. NAV is how much? 15.7. 15.7 plus entry load is 0. So that means purchase price is how much? 15.7. It's right here to save this case. Purchase price here is same as NAV because there is no entry. So how many units she will acquire? Number of units. You know, number of units acquired means purchased. So it is amount invested divided by purchase price. How much amount is invested? It is given to you as 20,000. Divided by purchase price is same as NAV, which is 15.7. Calculate. So 20,000 divided by 15.75. How much? 1,269.841. As I told you, you have to take up to 2 decimal places. Okay. So in the first sub question, when there is no entry load, this much is the number of units required. Let us solve the second one when the entry load is 2%. Second one, entry load is 2%. If the entry load is 2%, what will be the purchase price? Find out the purchase price. Is NAV plus entry load. What is the NAV? It is given to you as 15.75. 15.75. Plus entry load is 2%. So 2% of 15.75. Calculate that. So it is 15.75 plus 2% is 2 upon 100 into 15.75. So what will you get? Calculate this question. 2 into 15.75 divided by 100 will give you 0.315. And when you add it to 15.75, you will get 16.065. This is the purchase price of 1 unit. Now, when you know the purchase price of 1 unit, you can find out number of units. Number of units is equal to amount invested divided by purchase price. You know, amount invested is given to you 20,000. So it is 20,000 divided by 16.065. Calculate. How much you get? 20,000 divided by 16.065. So you are getting 1244.94. 1244.94. Okay. Now let us see. Let us compare. In the first sub question, entry load was 0. So purchase price was same as NAV. And how many units were acquired? 1269. If the entry load is there 2%, then how many units are acquired? 124. So what you have understood? If entry load is there, then the purchase price increases. No? NAV, you are adding the entry load to NAV. So if the purchase price is increasing, see, purchase price has become 16.065. In the previous one, purchase price was 15.7. So if the purchase price is increasing, okay, then the number of units acquired becomes less. Look at here. 15.75 tha to 1269, you are getting 0.841. And when it is increased, you get less units because the denominator is increasing, correct? Purchase price. So agar entry load hai, the number of units acquired will be less. And if entry load is not there, then number of units acquired will be more. Okay. One more problem we will take. This problem is slightly different. Let us read the question. A person invested ₹6,888 in a mutual fund and received 44.8 units. If the entry load is 2.5%, find the NAV at the time of purchase. See, in this question, you are asked to find the NAV. Whereas whatever question so far we have done, the last 3 questions, in that NAV was given to you. Here you are asked to calculate NAV. So let us first write down what is given to us. Amount invested is given to us as 6,888. And how many units were purchased? 44.8. That is also given to us. Entry load is given to you 2.5%, and you have to find the NAV at the time of purchase. You are not given NAV here, so which is we will call it as X. So let the NAV at the time of purchase be rupees X. Okay. Now find out the purchase price. You know what is the purchase price of a unit? It is NAV plus entry. What is the NAV? I'm calling it as X. So NAV is X. What is entry load? It is 2.5%. So 2.5 percent of what? NAV. NAV is X. It is X plus 2.5%. So 2.5 upon 100 of what? Of X. Don't get confused. ये यहाँ पर NAV नंबर की जगह पर X है क्योंकि हमें दिया नहीं है NAV, तो we are calling it as X. So it is X plus 2.5 upon 100 will be 0.025 और ये X में ऐसे ही. So 2.5 divided by 100 is equal to 0.025 and this X I have written as it is. Now I have to add these two terms. See, with this X you can't see any number. So if you don't see any number, that shows that it is, that means it is 1. So it is 1x plus 0.025x. So when you add, it will give you 1.025x. This is the purchase price of 1. Okay. Also, you can find out the, see, if it's x means it is 1x, huh? 1x plus 0.025x. So 1 plus 0.025 will give you 1.025. Don't get confused. Huh? Now see, you have found out the purchase price of 1. Also, you can find out the purchase price as, you know that purchase price also can be found out as equal to amount invested divided by number of units purchased. So what is the amount invested? It is 6,888. This is 6,888 and how many units were purchased? 44.8. 44.8. So 6,888. 6,888 divided by 44.8 will give you 153.7. So 153.75 is the purchase price of 1 unit. Whereas we have calculated purchase price of 1 unit as 1.025x. So that means they both are same. Therefore, 1.025x is equal to 153.75. So what is the value of x? 153.75 divided by 1.025. How much will get? 153.75 divided by 1.025. You are getting 150. So the value of x is 150. What was our x? It was NAV. So NAV is equal to rupees 150. Okay. So in this problem, to find out the NAV, we have found out the purchase price of a unit, which is NAV plus entry load. NAV we call it as x. X plus 2.5% of x. So we are getting 1.025. Also, we can find out the purchase price by this formula and then we can equate them. And to find the value of x, this number has to be shifted to the other side. So you will get this. So we have solved today 4 different types of problems. More problems we will solve in the next class. Thank you.